Yeah, you heard it. 8-1 when trailing by 10-plus points, trying to make a comeback. Marcus, it makes you feel like from the defensive standpoint, you can just never be comfortable against Mahomes. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. It's never any comfort. And I remember playing against Aaron Rodgers when he was in that zone. You up, you got a lead, you're feeling good about what you're doing, and then feel like they keep playing at halftime when you in the locker room trying to get ready for the second half. That's how damn good they are. So listen, this defense, when we all talked about it, we talked about how good Miami defense was. They turned the football over. That was the blueprint. The blueprint is to steal possessions away from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And Pat Mahomes like, nope, I'm good. Y'all go ahead and take this head start. I'll figure it out. We'll get it fixed. And we'll come back and convince to whoop you all over the field. And that's what they do, man. It's ridiculous. Like, it's exciting as a football player to watch it, but I could not imagine trying to defend against what they do, especially with the guys that surrounded him. So it's a mess. It's a conundrum. It's a mess. All of those words that I don't understand, they are that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I played in that division with Aaron Rodgers, so I completely get it. Like, I've been on the field sometimes. I go, there's 49 points and a half. I think two things stand out to me in these situations for the Chiefs because they're different than the Rodgers and Packers days. One, it's all gas, no brakes all the time. Like, they do not tie themselves to circumstance. It is, we are going all the time. Second of all, like, when they dig themselves into a hole, we often go like, well, you got to dig yourself out. But they got multiple guys that pick up their shovels. Like Tyreek Hill picks up a shovel. It's like, hey, give me reverse. Cool, touchdown. They got a guy like Mecole Hardman, who's like third or fourth on their team as a wide receiver, but he's probably one of the better punt returners in the NFL. Got it, guys. I'll pick up my shovel and I'll dig us out. Then they got Andy Reid. He picks up his shovel and he's like, I'll do my part. They got the greatest player at the position at that position in Patrick Mahomes. He'll dig them out. Sammy Watkins, Chris Jones, Honey Badger, they all do their part. And then they got Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is the best player in football that doesn't play quarterback, no cap. Got it in.
Oh, man. We taught Dan what no cap means yesterday.
I'm still not sure if he knows.
That was actually, it was good. You used it right, but you were also wrong because the best non-quarterback in football is Aaron Donald. I know defense doesn't exist in your mind, Dan, but it is Aaron Donald. That said, Travis Kelce is the best offensive player who is not a quarterback. I agree with you there. There's always this moment, in many moments in Chiefs games, where when you're watching the broadcast, Patrick Mahomes is scrambling, he's drifting, he's out of the pocket. You can't see what's happening downfield. I will tell you what's happening downfield. Travis Kelce is getting open. Yeah. The man lives in a scramble drill. Like, he finds the soft spots in any zone. Him and Mahomes, they're like a couple at a dinner party that finishes each other's jokes. You either love it if you're rooting for the Chiefs or it kind of makes you disgusted, but that is a perfectly symbiotic relationship, man. It's the most, outside of maybe Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, that is the most symbiotic relationship in football, and he is the second most indispensable player on that football team.
That's what it's like being at a dinner party with all of us. We finish each other's jokes,
sandwiches.
we finish each other's sentences. Oh, it's so annoying. All right, time for Stop Sleeping On. Let's give some credit to some people who people aren't giving enough credit to. Dan, you go first. Who are we sleeping on?
Yeah, better stop sleeping on Jonathan Taylor. In his last 3 weeks, he's starting to get more touches. That equals 18 carries a game. It equals 110 yards per game. This Indianapolis Colts is starting to churn out that run game. Their offensive line is finally getting healthy, and they're giving him his warranted touches. Imagine if this defense has that run game that's going to start leaning on people, and they are going to do it relying on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, there's a conversation going on about Defensive Player of the Year, and I cannot even impact how much this guy not being in the conversation is a travesty. That's Xavier Howard from the Miami Dolphins, the cornerback. Listen, he's got interceptions in his last 5 games. He's playmaking all over the field. He's an elite corner, the top corner in the NFL this year.
Stop sleeping on Tristan Wirfs, the Bucs right tackle, who should be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know we're not allowed to talk about offensive linemen, but I'm going to do it. He's only allowed 1 sack this season. We know how important pressure is, or not having pressure, to Brady. I loved him in college. I loved his potential, but he has delivered on that athleticism with his technique this season.
More coming on NFL Live. The Browns fell short of a win last night, but Baker Mayfield didn't have to get the W to receive high praise here, even from his skeptics. Stay tuned to find out what the former first overall pick proved in a Monday night thriller. We'll be right back. Wonder what it's like watching a game with Marcus Spears. That's it, Marcus, like that.
That thing had me lit, y'all. Listen, I had get up this morning, which y'all know is early. And I'm like, man, I got to go to bed. But I was still beaming with emotion after that game. It took me a while to go to sleep. I was on a tired trace this morning when I got on television, but I got amped up because we started talking about this game again.
Hey, I bet Baker Mayfield was pretty amped up, even though he lost the game. Here's the thing. He's been cooking defenses in recent weeks. In fact, since week 7, Baker has the 4th highest total QBR in the league, trailing only Aaron Rodgers. You see Patrick Mahomes drop in there, and Tom Brady. Pretty good company there for Baker Mayfield as you see him come in there at the end. So, Dan, how has Mayfield been able to turn it around this season? Because earlier on, he wasn't playing this well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were 3 standouts in last night's football game. Lamar Jackson, we've talked about. Baker Mayfield was one, and then Kevin Stefanski was absolutely remarkable. That's a big part of this. Last night, Baker Mayfield, it was his most professional performance as a pro. You know, coming out of the draft, it was like, is he mature enough? Is he going to be like Johnny Manziel? And he's had some hiccups in the NFL, I won't lie. But we've watched this maturation, specifically this year, of him handling everything like an adult. We always go, okay, you got to be the CEO of the billion-dollar company, certainly off the field. But, dude, you got to do it on the field, too. And he's really started to do it on the field. I think one of the hardest things in sports is to follow up a good performance with a good performance. He balled against Tennessee last week, and last night he was outstanding. And it wasn't like he's scheming guys wide open, or everybody, this is easy. It wasn't gimmicks. It was Baker just operating and being one of the dudes. And I think the best thing that happened last night was the Browns organization and its fans are the closest they've been in 30 years to being able to answer the question of, do we have our coach and do we have our quarterback? Right now, that answer is yes.
These two are bringing flowers. Marcus, raise it up a little bit. Razors, oh, there we go.
Huh?
There you go.
Wow, look at those.
Look at that display.
All right, so these flowers are for Baker Mayfield. Mina, I'll let you go first. Why are you giving flowers to Mayfield?
Yep. Marcus and I, we promised we would give Baker his flowers if he played really well, and he did exactly that. Dan used an excellent word, which was professional. So here's the thing. Sometimes when you're watching a quarterback in a Shanahan-derived offense, like Kevin Stefanski's, you can underplay the role of the QB because they're so quarterback friendly. Sorry, I'm going to have to move this. It's actually very hard to talk with it.
Yes.
And, we say, okay, Baker, he's playing well, but he's got guys who are wide open. He's using play action. He's rolling out, yada, yada. Here's what struck me last night in the second half. I want you to look at these splits. These are Baker's numbers without play action in the first half and in the second half. Look how well he played as a traditional drop-back passer in the second half. That, to me, was the biggest question I have for him, because that question wasn't answered against the Titans' defense. This win was more impressive. He was making adult throws under pressure, and if he can keep doing that, the sky's the limit for this offense.
Yeah, I mean, a big part for me is how do you answer your own adversity, right? And so many times we would see Baker make a mistake and then compound that mistake trying to make up for the first one he made. And last night, to respond to the interception, which could have been catastrophic, which ended up being a big play in the game for the Ravens, obviously. But for him to be able to come back and put the ball in the end zone and recover from that and not make that same mistake again, the Baker Mayfield that we used to is going to throw another interception after that because he feels like he needs to make up for the first one he threw. And the second part is this. What do you do when it's off script, right? The most impressive thing for me, watching Baker Mayfield last night and Dan hit at the point, everything wasn't peachy. Everything wasn't set up for you to have success. And he went beyond that. So for me, that performance was better than the Titans, because in the Titans one, you could say that a lot of things were schemed up.
Adam, how do you think the perception of Baker has changed around the league?
Well, to me, you look at him right now, and I think that he has enforced the idea that he can be this quarterback for this team. This is a team that runs the ball effectively. This is a team that plays some pretty good defense, with the exception of last night. And this is a team where he can do what he needs to be a successful quarterback in this league. And I know people were wondering about his fifth-year option. To me, you have to pick it up. It's an obvious one. You can't let a quarterback like Baker walk away. And if there are any questions about that at the beginning of the year, Baker's answered them this season. Yeah, it was a big prove-it moment for Baker and the Browns last night, just this year, but also probably, Adam, to your point, in Baker's future. We've got time for one more thing before we go. Mina Kimes, you lead us off.